Welcome, everybody. Welcome, fellow patriots. Welcome, fellow deplorables. Welcome, all you dregs of society, all you sycophants, or you stinkos, all you hateful people, and all you people who celebrate America. This is the Conservative Commandos radio show, and you're always, always welcome here. I'm Rick Trader, coming to you from the studios of the Conservative Commandos radio network, and joining me as my co-host is the patriot from the Republic of California, and that is Ann Elizabeth. And welcome to Conservative Commandos. And before we get started, if you could just tilt your camera up slightly, please. Sorry about that. That's perfect. Thank you. And again, thank you for joining us. And I'd just like to start by saying I'm wearing these dark glasses, not because I'm going into hiding, not because I'm incognito, but I've had, as many of you know, some eye surgery recently. And if you'd like to know more about it, check it out on my Facebook page, Rick Trader, but just as a means of an explanation. But, oh, by the way, I want to thank everyone that has wished me well. I really do appreciate your thoughts and prayers and good wishes. And with that, what is on your radar screen?
My radar screen?
Yes, ma'am.
I am getting very heavily censored. So that's on my radar screen. I worry about, the nation. Excuse me, I have a little one home who's making noise with chairs.
That's okay. Yeah, and this is a family show. Children, pets are invited.
I want to go into censorship. I just think it is concerning. And I'm feeling a little bit oppressed by it myself. And I want to talk about social media as giants and where that's going. So there's a couple things I want to talk about, and I also want to talk about.
Well, let's start out by talking about why are you feeling oppressed by the social media?
Well, because all of a sudden I started, and I haven't gotten them before. All of a sudden I have started getting things censored. Right, they're out of nowhere. Like, you're not going to be able to go live for 30 days. You can't advertise for 30 days. Now, I'm a social media person, so my social media management company does advertise, and that affects me. And there's nothing that I have really done to deserve that. I think they're going through with a fine-tooth comb, trying to figure out what can we find on this conservative person. So I had a video that someone recorded from the Capitol where it shows literally no violence, no anything. It shows evidence that the Capitol Police were, assistants to helping people get up there. It was a video of the police picking up the barricade, turning it sideways, putting it down, and going, "Come on in," and waving people in. Now, the funny thing about this is it got flagged by Facebook on January 9th, and I'm going to dispute that button. There's no violence in it. There's no mob mentality. There's none of the stuff that they say they look for. No terrorism or anything like that. Mm-hmm. This is literally police moving barricades and telling people to come on in. And I would literally think it's them hiding the evidence personally. And I think that should come up in the Senate when they go through these trials. But what they did was they took it down. I disputed it. And they said, "Oh, my mistake." She's always on, honey. I'm so sorry. So what they did was, so sorry.
And that's all right. There's a place for little guys like that. It's called Mommy's Lap.
I know, I don't want them on the radio, but
that's all right. Don't worry about it.
They said, "My mistake." They put the video back on my page and said, "Our mistake. We're sorry." Sometimes it happens. Okay, so now the video's back on my page because there was no problem with it. Then today I wake up to, guess what? It was actually last night. Guess what? You are no longer allowed to do live videos for 30 days or advertise. The same video they took down, put back up, is now in dispute again, but I'm not able to dispute it this time. After they gave me permission to keep it on my page, that is just wrong.
And you know how you're disputing it? You're disputing it by talking about it right here on today's show, because we need to put a great big spotlight on social media and expose what they are doing and what they are up to and their agenda. And that's how you fight it. That's how you dispute it. You've got a voice here. It may not be the biggest voice in the world. It's not 500 stations like Rush Limbaugh, but it's 18 or 19 stations. It's 10 television stations, 10 broadcast television stations. So you are doing what you can right here today. You are doing what you can. And I think it's important. It's important that we talk about it. It's important that we dispute it here, a form that you can dispute it and not be censored. We need to let America know what's going on here. And a lot of people know. The people on the right know. The people on the left know. There's a lot of people in the center that don't understand. When they hear that you have been blocked by Twitter or Facebook, they must think, oh, she must be a bad girl. She must be a bad girl to do that. But you're not. So you're explaining it. You're presenting your side of the story. So what I hope happens is people who maybe are not quite as in tune to what the facts here are finding out the true facts and saying, hey, there are two sides to this story. And thank God we're presenting that other side.
Yeah, absolutely. And it just doesn't stop there. There's my first group that I worked for, Brandon Strack's group, the Walkaway campaign, 500,000 plus, people in that group, tons of testimonies. And when I say testimonies, heartfelt, beautiful stories of how people got to where they are, why they left the Democrat Party, their personal trials that they have been through in life, let alone politically, gone without anything in a day. And my group that I worked for, 60,000 members. We deal just directly. We stay away from controversy. No Black Lives Matter. No Antifa. No.
By the way, I was a member of that group too. Flip It, California. Flip It Red, California. I was a member of that group. I know them. You were a moderator. Susan O'Connor. She was a creator of it. I was a moderator there. We were very careful of what people posted on that group.
Yeah, and we didn't, it was all about California law, voting, the candidates, any sort of, propositions that would come up, we'd pick them apart. We'd get expert opinions on propositions and, we'd tell you how to contact the government if you needed to, complain about something. There was nothing really that would have, but it was a powerful and a force that actually, fought, the good fight of keeping our government, the elections,
Absolutely. It was a terrific site. Let me say, that's how you and I met. That's how you and I met. That's how we connected. And because of that, not only did I meet you, but I met a lot of other great, powerful people in the conservative in California. Conservatives in California, wow, what a concept, but they're there. And this was a terrific way for people to network together. And isn't it supposed to be social networking?
Yes.
And
yeah, it is. And let me tell you, go one step further. The work that was put into it, besides all of our postings, we vetted every member, made sure that they had been on Facebook and that they weren't, some sort of what they call troll, someone that was we'd go to their page, make sure they were who they said they were. We'd ask them questions, make sure they answered the questions, or that they were invited by someone that we knew that was conservative. So, it was like we were, keeping our site from controversy as much as we could. We were not a site that would argue with each other. We were a site that gave information, but that information was strong, and they silenced it overnight. And, this is what's going on with censorship. And then you have something like Twitter, who is above the President of the United States.
And I'm going to ask you to hold that thought. And we have to take a quick break. But on the other side of the break, we're going to pick up that conversation about Twitter, about the government of media. I love how you put that, and also the Trump legacy. And you are listening to and watching the Conservative Commandos radio show with Ann Elizabeth and yours truly, Rick Trader. And today's show, like all our shows, is being brought to you by the First Amendment, protected by the Second. Don't go away. We'll be back after this break. We'll let you know who our guests are, the topics for our conversations, and we'll pick up on the social media, Twitter, and the legacy of Donald Trump right after this break.
Here's a great way to save money on your prescription medications. If you take Viagra or Cialis, we can give you a way to pay as little as $2 a pill. Compare that to prices as high as $60 per tablet. Call now with your prescription and pay as little as $2 a pill. We offer 24/7 service and always free delivery and confidential packaging. Call Pharmacy Shop 24/7 to get generic versions of Viagra or Cialis for as little as $2 a pill, plus free discreet shipping.
Broken AC, $4,600. Water heater, $1,500. Fridge on the fritz, $1,000. You need home warranty coverage from the Home Service Club for around $1 a day. If any of your covered appliances and systems break down, HSC will either repair or replace them.
HSC provides coverage of up to 47 different appliances and systems in your home.
I trust HSC.
HSC has over 15,000 pre-screened, highly rated technicians with the fastest response time in the industry. They cover everything from ACs, stoves, fridges, pool pumps, and more. Call the number on your screen now for a free no-obligation quote from a trusted HSC specialist about a home warranty for your entire home, backed with a 30-day money-back guarantee. Call now and get 1 month free plus $75 off your first year of coverage. 1 month free and $75 off your first year. The Home Service Club.
I didn't know some Medicare Advantage plans may pay for dental visits. Did you?
I didn't know some Medicare Advantage plans may pay for transportation to my doctor. Did you?
I didn't know some Medicare Advantage plans may pay to have my prescriptions delivered directly to my home. Did you?
These and more are important benefits some Medicare Advantage plans may give you. So if you're eligible for Medicare, call us right now because you may be eligible to enroll in a plan with amazing additional benefits. Some Medicare Advantage plans may pay for services like these: dental visits, vision coverage, hearing coverage, home delivery of drugs, even gym memberships. Some plans may include no copays for many services and zero deductibles. Don't wait to find out if you're eligible to enroll in a plan that may include some of these wonderful benefits you deserve. Call us right now. The call is free, the information is free, and there's no obligation. Make this free call now to learn if you're eligible to enroll in a Medicare Advantage plan that may include additional benefits you want. Call us right now.
Here's a great way to save money on your prescription medications. If you take Viagra or Cialis, we can give you a way to pay as little as $2 a pill. Compare that to prices as high as $60 per tablet. Call now with your prescription and pay as little as $2 a pill. We offer 24/7 service and always free delivery and confidential packaging. Call Pharmacy Shop 24/7 to get generic versions of Viagra or Cialis for as little as $2 a pill, plus free discreet shipping.
And once again, we want to welcome you back. This is the Conservative Commandos radio show with Ann Elizabeth and yours truly, Rick Trader. And I want to tell you who our guests are and the topics for today's conversations. And by the way, we're always looking for great guests here on Conservative Commandos and also the other terrific shows on the AUN television network. So if you'd like to make a recommendation, somebody you think we should interview, or perhaps you would like to be a guest, or perhaps you would like to recommend a show, please send us an email, auntv@yahoo.com, auntv@yahoo.com. All those emails come to me. I open and read every one of them. I want to hear from you. So, Ann, again, we've got three great guests joining us here today. And joining us first will be Representative Jake Hoffman. He represents the 12th District in Arizona in the House of Representatives. And he's going to join us to talk about a piece of legislation that he has introduced, a first-in-nation resolution to protect against the Democrat court packing. We're also going to be joined by Michael Harrison. And this gentleman is a legend in the world of talk radio. He is the editor and publisher of Talkers Magazine, which is the Bible of talk radio. Anybody in this industry goes to Talkers Magazine to find out what's going on in the industry. And we're going to have Michael on to talk about the First Amendment, freedom of speech, net neutrality. We're going to talk about the fairness doctrine. And also, we're going to have Corey Liu join us. Corey is an attorney. He is a partner at the Ashcroft Law Firm, talking about the Trump impeachment trial faces sticky legal questions. Great guest joining us once again here on the Conservative Commandos radio show. And before we went to the break, you started to talk about Twitter, President Trump, and also let's talk about his legacy.
Yeah. Well, I want to talk about the government of social media, and I think that's an important thing to really talk about, because we have CEOs of companies, trumping, not to use that word. Yeah, the President of the United States silencing them. They are now bigger than our government. They're now bigger than our government. So I'm gonna enter some controversy, and anyone listening it's gonna blow their mind. Let's imagine a world without borders. Let's imagine that world that we see the internet as. We see the internet as another dimension, because it is. It's a whole nother world inside. Mm-hmm. And I'm not talking about the New World Order. Well, maybe I am, but now we have these huge companies that are controlling that world. America's government is no longer, the government that rules. No other countries are. What about a world where social media is the new run of our world? And that's what it's coming down to, where they can call literally the President of the United States and say, do this, or we're going to silence you. The government is, we're at a point where this can really change things. We think of countries as borders, governments within those borders. This is something else. And it's everybody tuned in. We have another dimension of leadership right now. That's an incredible consideration. These people bigger than governments.
Well, they think they're bigger than government, and they have a lot of power, Ann. They do have a lot of power. And power is energizing. The more power you get, the more you want. And for instance, like a Mark Zuckerberg, who's a multi-billionaire, who's almost intouchable. Even, he was called up for congressional hearings. He's almost untouchable. And he has so much money and he has so much power. And he's used that money for more power. For instance, during the last election, and also the election in Georgia, they had these mail-in ballot boxes. Okay, they're kind of like a post office box where you could drop your mail-in ballot. He financed thousands of these ballot boxes to be placed in Democrat-controlled areas. Now, like in Pennsylvania and also in Georgia, in some of the Republican-controlled areas, you had one box for every 10 to 12 square miles. But in Democrat areas, you had 3 or 4 or 5 of these boxes, these ballot drop-off boxes, within 1 square mile. Where'd that money come from? That come from Mark Zuckerberg. So that gives you a lot of power. And the more power you get, the more power you take, the more power you think you deserve. So they are acting like mini dictatorships, these social medias. These people like Jack Dorsey have tremendous power because of their platform. And the more power they get, the more they want. It is addicting to them. So I think you're right. And maybe they are not a government within a border, but they're creating a worldwide government because of what their influence. But who's to blame for that, Ann? We are. We've given them that power.
Yeah, and they're taking out any of the competition. It's almost like a government within the internet, and
right.
They're literally redefining. They're not following our Constitution.
Nope.
They have their own rules, and they can just like a dictatorship, they can just silence you if they want to.
Yep. The other frustrating thing is, as you have stated, that you've had your censorship problems with YouTube. There's nobody to appeal to. There's nobody you can send an email to. There's nobody you can text to. There's nobody you can call and say, what's the problem here? For instance, and I'm doing a fundraiser right now on Facebook, okay? They have stopped me from publicizing that fundraiser. Now, let me tell you what that fundraiser is for. It's for people who need cataract surgery, who need some help, okay? Has nothing to do with politics. But because of me posting other things on Facebook, which are of a political nature, they're stopping me from talking about this fundraiser. They're stopping me from talking about cataracts and how people are affected by this, and how cataract surgery, much of it or some of it, is not covered by insurance, is not covered by Medicare, because of my political presence, because they don't know like what I post or where I post or what I post or how much I post. They're stopping me from talking about people that have eye problems. But you know what? That's their platform.
Yes, it is.
We at least have this platform of conservative commandos.
Yeah.
Our 18 or 19 radio stations, our 10 television stations, at least we have that. What about people who aren't as fortunate as you and I are? That's the problem. And I don't necessarily know that it is a problem of infringing upon our First Amendment rights, but I'll tell you what it is. It's discrimination. They are discriminating against us not because of our race, religion, national origin. They're discriminating against us because we are conservatives.
Yeah,
that's what they're discriminating against. And I'll use this analogy. To me, that's like discriminating against somebody who's gay.
Totally.
It is their sexual belief that they should have the right to love anyone they want. Well, I believe we should have the right to think any way we want. And as long as we don't hurt anybody, what's the problem with that?
Okay, so now this is where you can tie it all up with a knot and a bow.
And I'll let you do that if you can do that in 2 minutes, because we got to get our first guest. 2 minutes.
Oh, I have 2 minutes. Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Well, did you want me to talk about Trump's legacy then?
No, I want you to talk about what you were just thinking.
Okay. Well, this is where social media has given. This is where I believe that the Capitol riots were premeditated. And I believe that because now they can call Trump supporters dangerous. They have given us all when Antifa and they can go riot and loot, and the politicians can go egg them on and say get in their face and this is their thing, and they're totally supportive of that. What they've done to all Trump supporters in an umbrella, blanketed us together as violent people. Now they can silence us on social media because we are now violent. I had a picture of me put up on an Antifa website and invoking violence on me and other people that we need to be dealt with. And I can't get that taken down, but I can't post a video on my social media of the Capitol guards moving barricades and literally waving people through. I mean, we're in a very scary moment, and I think social media is not only cooperating but like leading the flag up to Capitol Hill on this one. But I do want to end it with this. Errol Weber made the best post on Facebook, and I just thought it was beautiful because we need to keep this. President Trump, he's not there anymore. I never thought I'd see it happen. I thought for sure we'd pull this one out, but Errol said this, and I think we all need to follow this. President Trump lit a fire in the hearts of patriots across this great nation. Today, he's passing that torch to us. It's our job to continue the legacy of advocating for limited government, constitutional principles, and the MAGA agenda. This is so much bigger than one man. And so I will leave it at that because we have a legacy to follow.
I think that's a perfect way to leave it. And you are listening to and watching the Conservative Commandos radio show with Ann Elizabeth and yours truly, Rick Trader. On the other side, we're going to be speaking with Arizona State Representative Jake Hoffman, who's brought something to the Arizona State Legislature, a first-in-nation resolution to protect against Democrat court packing. Don't go away. We'll be right back with our first guest. Boom, it's done.
Oh my gosh, and then my doorbell rang. My dog's going crazy.
Where are you going?
Okay, can I go get that? Go on. Sorry, Rick, my door.
Are you paying too much for your health insurance? Are your deductibles too high? Or are you completely uninsured? If you answered yes to any of these questions, Healthcare Help Desk can help you now when people need help the most. Health insurance laws and rules have changed. If you have Obamacare, are uninsured, or your premiums are too high, call Healthcare Help Desk. It's free. New healthcare plans are available, and you may qualify for dental coverage and lower copays and deductibles. Make the free call now. Top quality coverage at the lowest prices anywhere. You may be paying too much and not even know it. In these troubled times, healthcare is more important than ever. Don't let another day go by without health insurance. Policies are being offered with very low copays and deductibles. So if you're uninsured, underinsured, or paying too much, call Healthcare Help Desk. Learn about your options before it's too late.
Call 800-964-1055. 800-964-1055.
Attention Medicare recipients and anyone turning 65. Medicare has approved new benefits not included with original Medicare and older Medicare Advantage plans. You may not be getting all of the benefits you're entitled to. These new Medicare Advantage plans may have many free new benefits including in-home aids, telephone appointments with your doctors, home-delivered meals and prescriptions. These benefits may be available and it's a free call to enroll. The easiest way to enroll is to call the Medicare Benefits Line, a free non-government service. The new plans may also offer free eyeglasses, free hearing aids, free wellness visits, and gym memberships. Call the Medicare Benefits Line now. It's easy. Find out if you're eligible for new benefits like meal and prescription delivery, in-home aids, and telemedicine. Some plans may have a $0 monthly premium or zero copays for big out-of-pocket savings.
Call 800-691-1655. 800-691-1655.
Medicare Benefits Line is not connected with or endorsed by any government agency or the federal Medicare program.
I owed the IRS $10,000.
The IRS garnished my wages.
They put a lien on my house.
I'm self-employed and didn't report all my income. They claim I owe a lot more than I do.
The IRS is the most powerful collection agency in the world. They do not give up until you pay.
I couldn't sleep. We were being audited. I called Tax Solutions Now, and a great big weight was lifted off my shoulders.
I called Tax Solutions Now, and they got the IRS off my back.
Tax Solutions Now had my wage garnishment lifted in 48 hours.
Tax Solutions Now can get you help. Our agents know the rules, can stop the pain, and get you the best deal.
Tax Solutions Now saved my business.
I qualified for the Fresh Start program. I paid less than I owed.
We connect you with a team of former IRS agents and tax professionals who get the IRS off your back. Time is running out. Call Tax Solutions Now.
Call 800-447-7570. 800-447-7570.
And welcome back. Welcome back to the Conservative Commandos radio show. And I want to give a shout out to folks who are listening to us on radio stations in Jacksonville, Tampa and the Villages, Florida, Las Vegas, Reno, and Sparks in Nevada, Macon, Georgia, Lancaster and Pittsburgh, Boulder and Colorado Springs, Milwaukee, Wisconsin, Long Beach, California, Arlington, Virginia, as well as Washington, D.C., and also seen on the AUN television network in San Francisco, Sacramento, San Jose, Silicon Valley, wine country, all the way up to Redding, very soon in Carson City and in Reno. And I'd like to say hello to our newest audience on KGNG Channel 26 in Las Vegas. Our guest this segment is Representative Jake Hoffman. He represents District 12 in the Arizona House of Representatives. Representative Hoffman earned a bachelor's degree from Arizona State University and an M.B.A. from Northwest Christian University. And he's also president and CEO of Rally Forge, which is one of the top conservative communications and media strategy firms. His articles has been published in Townhall, Daily Caller, and American Thinker. And Representative Hoffman, we want to welcome you to the Conservative Commandos radio show.
Thank you so much. I'm proud to be here.
We ask you to join us today to talk about an article you wrote that the Arizona Legislature has introduced the first in-nation resolution to protect against Democrat court packing. But before we get into that, being that you're from Arizona, a border state, I wanted to start today's conversation with you about the Biden administration and what I soon to expect an open border policy. And all those hundreds of miles of beautiful wall built by President Trump very soon are going to have some very large, beautiful gates in them. And I wanted to get your thoughts.
Yeah, well, I appreciate you having me on. And, certainly starting with immigration is an apropos subject. Biden just last week came out and said it's his administration's top priority right out of the gate. That means amnesty. That means open borders policies. We saw on his first day in office, he already signed an executive order halting the construction of the border wall, which is something that Arizona desperately needs. We desperately want, and the majority of Arizonans are on our side with that. I've been to the border multiple times, and let me give a shout out to our incredible Border Patrol agents and some of their leadership, like Art Del Cueto. I've traveled to the border with Art and with members of our congressional delegation and other members of the legislature. And let me tell you, the majority of Americans do not understand what the border actually looks like. They see the images, when you Google search border wall or U.S. border, U.S.-Mexico border, you see images that Google wants you to see that look very secure. But let me tell you, the reality on the border is that the majority of it is wide open with nothing more than what are called Normandy barricades. Those are 2 X posts with a bar in the middle that's about knee high. And what I've been told by Border Patrol agents is that the coyotes, the traffickers of humans and illegal narcotics, will sit on that bar and wait for them to roll up and then just swing their legs back over and say, "I'm in Mexico, you can't touch me." And that's one of the methodologies that they use to scout and to monitor traffic and patterns for Border Patrol on the border. And so the wall is desperately needed. Arizonans know that. And unfortunately, this president is, as you mentioned, he's going to employ an open borders policy, which puts not only Arizonans at risk, it puts every American citizen at risk. Not only economically, with jobs and job losses and things of that nature, it allows the flood of illegal narcotics, a lot of which, by the way, are things like fentanyl, which is illegal drugs coming from China, right? And they're flooding through our southern border because they know they can't get them in through the typical, ports of entry, such as seaports and airports and things like that. So they come illegally across the southern border. And open border policies that the Biden administration, as you coined it, is deploying, they're going to have an increase in all of that. Not to mention, real quick, one last point.
Sure.
Human trafficking is a very real issue. And President Trump did a fantastic job. He did the best job of any politician in recent history targeting that issue and combating it. And right now, if we reopen the border, that is going to lead to a massive increase in human trafficking, which is an absolutely devastating subject.
Representative Hoffman, I want to mention 2 things. My co-host Dan and Elizabeth is joining us. And also, I wanted to ask about this. Is the state of Arizona powerless here? Is there anything that the state of Arizona can do to prevent its borders from being invaded?
That's a great question. So look, we're obviously a nation that's built on a system of federalism, right? And so the protection of our homeland is explicitly the duty of the U.S. government. Now, the question then becomes, in light of their neglect of addressing these very real security threats, not only national security, but threats to our state sovereignty as well. What powers do we have? And those are active conversations that members of the legislature are having, that we're having with the attorney general, with the governor's office, because it is something that we're going to have to be prepared. The Biden administration is taking the Obama open borders policies and putting them on steroids. And so that means that we may have to step up as a state and get significantly more involved in protecting our own state.
Representative Hoffman, let's get into the article that you wrote that's on Townhall about the Arizona Legislature introducing a first in nation resolution to protect against Democrat court packing. And you start your article. The United States Supreme Court isn't merely one of America's most important institutions. It is also one of the most important elements in our constitutional system of checks and balances, not to mention the gold standard of judicial independence and integrity on the planet. And you continue, Democrats, more aptly radical Marxists, have made it clear their intention to politicize and co-opt the Supreme Court. Representative Hoffman, tell us about this.
Well, look, as if protecting the independence of the court wasn't reason enough already, the disastrous outcome of the Georgia runoff elections for the U.S. Senate should be more than enough to harden the resolve of every single American legislator, right? There has rarely been a more important moment in history for the sovereign states to reclaim their power under the Constitution and boldly make known their desires for the direction of our country. That's the genesis of this resolution, right? Our entire system of government is based upon functioning checks and balances. And for the last 150 years, we've had 9 U.S. Supreme Court justices. If every change of the presidency and the accompanying Congress resulted in the adding of Supreme Court members, it would be a never-ending expansion of the Supreme Court, which would undermine and completely debilitate our country's ability to adjudicate issues that are, unconstitutional, to adjudicate issues that are problems in the law, to adjudicate issues that need that highest court, that respected body to decide. And quite frankly, our nation is in dire need of a return to constitutional certainty. We have to have judicial impartiality on the Supreme Court. And simply put, as our nation's politics become more unstable, it becomes more important now than ever that we redouble our resolve to protecting the stability and the continuity of that highest court in our land.
Well, Representative Hoffman, this has been tried in the past, as you pointed out in your article, during the Franklin Delano Roosevelt administration. He wanted to pack the court. He wanted to pack the court to approve his unconstitutional New Deal program. At that time, even the Democrats were against this. But what worries me, Representative Hoffman, is the tenor of the people that are serving in Congress today are much, much different than the people serving in Congress 100 years ago. I wanted to get your take on that.
Well, look, that's why I noted in the piece, as you read earlier, that they are Democrats, but they are more aptly radical Marxists. When we look at the new class, the AOCs, the Ilhan Omars, right, the Representative Presley, even when we look at, to be very frank, when we look at the Kamala Harris's, Vice President Harris, right, these are not people who subscribe to the John F. Kennedy School of Democratic Politics. These are people who subscribe to the Karl Marx or Cesar Chavez vision of government, right, which is inherently Marxist and is the government controlling all aspects of life. One of the ways that they need, one of the methodologies that they have and want to pursue in order to do that is the takeover of the Supreme Court. And, I'm shocked. Recently, the dictionary changed the definition of court packing because they knew the actual definition wouldn't suit the interests of Democrats, right?
Wow.
And that's how far we've devolved in this political dialogue and debate that we have as a nation, is that we have corporations who run entities like the dictionary willing to run political cover fire for the Democrats. Right?
It's incredible.
It is.
Representative Hoffman, I think this is so important because we can see what's coming down the pike. We can see attacks on our First Amendment rights of freedom of speech. We can see attacks on our Second Amendment rights of the right to bear arms. We can see attacks on freedom of religion. We can see attacks on our borders and our laws in general. I mean, this is such an important topic and subject to talk about. This court packing idea is so frightening because if you get one party rule in the executive office, in the legislative office, and then the judicial office, boom, there are 3 branches of government. Our republic will not stand as we know it today.
That's sadly accurate. And look, the framers were absolutely brilliant in the way that they created this nation. We are a compound republic with 3 equal branches of government at the federal level who were empowered. They didn't empower the states. The states empowered those 3 branches of the federal government. But we also have 3 equal branches in each of the states, right? And that's why, going back to the conversation that we had earlier, that's why it's more important now than ever that states stand up and assert their authority under the 10th Amendment and under that federalist view of government that we were founded under, because we have to remind these radicals in DC that we create you, we empower you, and you have no authority unless we allow you to have it. Right. And so it is incredibly important that we stop court packing, that we block court packing. We need Mitch McConnell and Lindsey Graham and Ted Cruz and Mike Lee and Rand Paul to lock arms and fight this with every ounce of vigor that they have in their bodies. Because from a court packing perspective, they are our last line of defense right now. And the Democrats are going to do everything they can to push this through.
You are listening to and watching the Conservative Commandos radio show with Ann Elizabeth and yours truly, Rick Trader. Arizona Representative Jake Hoffman is joining us, and he's discussing an article he wrote that's being published on Townhall. Arizona Legislature introduces First Nation resolution to protect against Democrat court packing. Representative Hoffman, could you hold through this break for us, please? Because I know my co-host, Ann Elizabeth, has got a lot of questions for you. And you are listening to and watching the Conservative Commandos radio show with Ann Elizabeth and yours truly, Rick Trader. Avoid disappointment and future regret. Don't go away. We'll be back with our guest right after this break.
Attention homeowners. Do you have a house that's in need of serious repairs? Do you have tenants that never seem to make their monthly payments? How about code violations, past due taxes, or maintenance costs you just can't afford? Then call my friends right now at Quick Cash Offer. They specialize in buying any home, no matter how ugly the situation. Turn that problem property into cash right now. It's just that simple. One call and you can get rid of that home headache forever. They buy the ugliest houses with instant closings, instant cash, and huge savings. Plus, there are no realtor fees, no listing fees, and no repair costs. Just cash in your hands for that painful property. They're buying a few more houses in your neighborhood this month. So take advantage of this cash offer and call Quick Cash Offer now.
855-296-8854. 855-296-8854. That's 855-296-8854.
Listen carefully. If your student loan debt is overwhelming you and things seem hopeless, we've got great news.
If you're still struggling with your student loan debt, there are government programs available that may actually lower your payments by consolidating your federal student loans. Just call us. We'll review your situation and work with you to consolidate your debt. In many cases, depending on your situation, we can lower your monthly payments in half or more. It doesn't matter how much you owe or how far behind you are. Even if you're in default, call us right now to find out how we can lower your payment in half immediately. You can stop the harassing phone calls and the wage garnishments. All you need to do is pick up the phone and call us right now. We can remove your default status, consolidate your federal student loans, lower your payments, and we can do it today. Stop worrying. This is a real solution that can help. So please call us right now.
Call 800-917-8671.
Are you over the age of 50? Want peace of mind and financial security for your family? Here's an important message to you and all seniors from the Final Expense Insurance Hotline. The average funeral costs about $7,000, even more. And the most government benefits will pay your family is only $255. That leaves your loved ones with a burden of paying your debts and funeral costs. Our plans start as low as $1 per day and will pay up to $30,000 for your funeral and other final expenses. There's no medical exam and you'll have lifetime coverage. Plus, your rates will never increase and your plan cannot be canceled regardless of your medical condition as long as you make your premium payments.
Get free information right now. Just answer a few simple questions and get approved right over the phone in just a few minutes. Call right now.
Call 855-221-7334.
Do you have an idea for an invention, but you don't know what to do next?
How do you get in front of companies or get a patent?
Call InventHelp. They've been helping inventors just like you for 35 years.
And thousands of people contact them every month.
With 65 offices, you can meet with an InventHelp representative near you who will keep your idea confidential and explain their invention process step by step. InventHelp has helped over 10,000 inventors get patents. And they offer 3D animations and prototyping services to help demonstrate your idea. InventHelp's exclusive databank includes over 9,000 companies who have agreed to confidentially review new ideas, like yours.
Don't wonder what to do next. Take action right now and get the help you need from InventHelp.
InventHelp. Call today for free information.
800-880-2937. That's 800-880-2937 now.
And once again, we want to welcome you back to the Conservative Commandos radio show with Ann Elizabeth and yours truly, Rick Trader. And for a rebroadcast of our show, check out our website, ccrshow.com. That's ccrshow.com. Our guest this segment is Arizona State Representative Jake Hoffman, and we're discussing a first-in-nation resolution to protect against Democrat court packing. And Representative Hoffman, I know my co-host Ann Elizabeth wants to get into this conversation, so Ann, please pick it up.
I'm going to first apologize that I do have a little one home today. So he's going to try not to interrupt Mommy. But I just want to talk a little bit more about this court packing. It's just another, attempt for, the left to, when they're losing, change the rules, flip it around and make it, work for them. And we see this, I live in California, and we see this in California. We see it with changing, districts when they look like they're going to lose a district so that they keep their supermajority. We see it in a lot of places where that Democrats just flip it around and make it work for them. So how, I know it's, there's constitutional rights to being able to implement something like this, but how is this, how is the public even going to see this as something that is legitimate and not more cheating or, a different form? Like how is a public perception going to handle this?
Well, look, sadly, I think I don't think they will. I think they will be mad. But unfortunately, the way that the system is set up, the Democrats right now, because they won those Georgia runoff elections, if they blow up cloture, are going to be able to push through policies like this. And that's why it's more important now than ever that we have engaged citizens, right? Our founding fathers said, this country will not persist if we don't have an engaged citizenry. And that's what we need now more than ever. And to the point that you made just a minute ago, you're right. Democrats, it's rules for thee, but not for me, right? They want everybody else to play by a set of rules, and then they want to exempt themselves and change the boundaries and change the foul lines whenever it suits them for their political agenda. And that's precisely what they're doing with this issue. Democrats, they know that the policy agenda that they've laid out, right? A national emergency for climate change, infringing on our Second Amendment rights with arduous and insane gun regulations, right? With, amnesty and illegal immigration, open borders policy, with the transgender issue, right? The executive order that the president just signed on transgender, with the economic devastating policies that they want to implement. All of those will be subject to litigation because they are pursuing a blatantly unconstitutional anti-American agenda. And so if they don't come in and take over the Supreme Court, they know full well that they stand no chance, because what President Trump did is he kept his promises. He gave us a list of justices that he would nominate to the Supreme Court, and he nominated those people and got them confirmed by the U.S. Senate. And Mitch McConnell, God bless him for helping with that. Mitch McConnell did a great job stewarding those confirmations through. And we now have a court that is actually reflective of the Constitution as it's written. We now have a court that is reflective of the overwhelming majority of the American people, right? They call us the flyover states. I escaped California 27 years ago. So I hear you. But, they call us in the center of the country the flyover states. But the reality is that we reflect the true American values and the principles of what this nation was formed on. It's not the coastal elites, and they recognize that, and that's why they're willing to exploit the political process to achieve the ends that they desire.
So what can Republicans do? I mean, you're a representative. What can be done? I mean, they own the majority still, and Senate's pretty close. But will this go through, and what can we do?
Well, so that's a great question. So Arizona led the way with this first resolution. It's being delivered once we pass it out of both chambers, right? It's scheduled for a hearing on Wednesday. And once it passes out of both chambers, which I'm confident it will, we will deliver a copy of that resolution declaring our opposition to court packing and declaring our desire for a constitutional amendment protecting and setting the Supreme Court at 9 justices, right? And that will be delivered to the Speaker of the U.S. House, the Majority Leader of the Senate, the Vice President, the President. It will be delivered to every Speaker of the House and Senate President of every legislature in the country, right? One of the reasons why I included that final provision so that it go to the other legislatures is, to your point, Ann, Republicans do still hold a majority of the legislatures. We have the state capitals. And so it's important that we create a rising tide that lifts all boats, and that we get other legislatures to stand up and assert their authority and assert what their declaration is for a Supreme Court that is independent and that has integrity, right? And so from that standpoint, what can people do? What can the grassroots do? They can contact their legislators and they can say, pass the resolution that's been introduced in Arizona, introduce it in your chamber, pass it out, and send it to the president's desk, send it to the speaker's desk, and send it to the Senate president's desk.
Representative Hoffman, do you see other states picking up this?
So I do. So there are already about a dozen states that are working on introducing this in their chambers. Right now we're also working on, there's an organization called Keep 9, which is working on promoting this within state legislatures all across the country. And I know that they've got a target list of about 30 state legislatures that they are actively working to get introduced, get it heard in committee, passed out of the House, passed out of the Senate, so that we can continue to build a groundswell here. Look, we as states have got to reinforce the Ted Cruzes and the Mike Lees and the Rob Portmans of the world who have stepped out and said, you know what, at the federal level, we want this, and now we need to tell them the states want this too.
Representative Jake Hoffman, we want to thank you so much for joining us here on the Conservative Commandos radio show. Would you please tell our audience how they can keep track of you, your work, the work of Keep 9, and also to read the articles you write?
Absolutely. So I am a contributing columnist at Townhall.com. So if you go to Townhall and search my name, Jake Hoffman, you can find my commentary there. You can follow me at www.jakehoffman.com. On there, there's a place to sign up for email updates. I would be happy to help you understand all of the things that Arizona is doing, because this is not the only issue. We have a resolution that I just introduced yesterday that opposes H.R. 1 at the federal level, which is essentially the federalization of elections in our states. Nancy Pelosi and Chuck Schumer are trying to take away our sovereign constitutional authority to oversee, administer, and manage elections. And we are telling them, heck no, you take that and you shove it, okay? Because it is our right, okay? And so we want that resolution spread out across the country. We've got one on Washington, D.C. statehood, right? We are standing up as Arizona. Arizona is a leader in the freedom movement. And so if you want to get these updates and hear what we're doing so you can tell your legislators to do the same thing, go to www.jakehoffman.com, sign up for the email updates, and I'm happy to keep you informed.
Well, Representative Hoffman, I hope this is the first visit of many here on the Conservative Commandos radio show. I love what I'm hearing from you, my friend. We want to hear more of it.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
And you are listening to and watching the Conservative Commandos radio show with Ann Elizabeth and yours truly, Rick Trader. On the other side, we're going to be speaking with a pioneer of talk radio, and that is Michael Harrison. He serves as the editor and publisher of Talkers magazine, which is known as the Bible of talk radio. And we're going to be talking about censorship in the upcoming Biden administration. Don't go away. We'll be right back with our next guest.
Mom, thank God you're going to be okay.
So relieved. But you both should know when my time comes, I have a final expense policy with Senior Care USA.
Is Senior Care USA the life insurance policy that helps loved ones pay for funeral expenses and other debts? Bill and I called to get more information.
Yes, and there's an immediate payout of up to $50,000.
If you're over 50, call Senior Care USA now to learn more about final expense insurance plans.
There's no medical exam, even if you have a pre-existing condition like I do. When I called, the quote was free, and there was no pressure.
I found out that policies start for as little as 35 cents a day. Rates will never increase and coverage won't decrease.
I'm going to call today.
Ask about the free prescription discount card. Oh, I'm so glad you'll be taken care of.
Call 1-800-822-7419. That's 1-800-822-7419.
But is it? It's really just the beginning, right? Have you written a book and want it published but don't know where to start? You're not alone. Page Publishing cuts through the confusion that most new authors face, like copyright protection, barcodes, printing, and digital uploading. We will get your book into bookstores now. We guide you through the publishing maze and help you distribute and sell your work in hard copy and ebook formats. That's right. We will digitize and place your book for sale on Amazon, Apple iBooks, and Google, offering it to millions. Don't waste another minute. Most publishers won't even look at new author submissions, but we're different. We review your book and provide you feedback in about a week. If we decide to publish your book, your work ends and ours begins. From copy editing and proofing to typesetting and book cover art, our team gets you into bookstores fast.
Call 1-877-461-5033.
Does your current bathroom need to be updated immediately? Introducing one-day bath and shower remodeling. The complete and hassle-free way to get the new bathroom of your dreams in as little as 1 day. And for as little as $199 a month. Yes, the experts at One Day Bath and Shower Remodeling will come to you anywhere in the country and show you all the customized options. Now you can have a brand new bathroom in as little as 1 day. Large or small bathrooms, if you want a new bathtub or shower installed, we can do it in as little as 1 day. And if you call right now, you can save $750 off your remodel. We make it easy by offering you financing as low as $199 per month. So for as little as $199 a month, you can finally have the bathroom of your dreams. Call now to schedule your free in-home consultation.
And once again, we want to welcome you back to the Conservative Commandos radio show with Ann Elizabeth and yours truly, Rick Trader. And if you'd like to hear a rebroadcast of our show, either our TV show or a radio show, please go to our website, and that's ccrshow.com. That's ccrshow.com. Such an honor for me to introduce this next guest. A true legend in talk radio. Michael Harrison serves as the editor and publisher of Talkers Magazine, which is known as the Bible of Talk Radio. Michael has been an on-air personality or a program director in stations from coast to coast, from New York to Los Angeles. He owned and operated one of the very first talk radio stations, WSPR in Springfield, Massachusetts. He currently hosts PodcastOne's The Michael Harrison Interview, which is an award-winning weekly podcast geared to, get this, media freaks, pop culture aficionados, political junkies, that lets us in, and the philosophically curious. Michael operates an experimental, hyper-local online talk station, Pioneer Valley Radio in Western Massachusetts. He's also the president and principal of Goodphone Communications, a service media production, publishing, and consulting firm. And Michael, again, it's our honor, our pleasure to welcome you here to Conservative Commandos.
Thank you so much for that introduction. How kind of you. And it's great to see you. And it's great to see Ann Elizabeth. And it's great to be on your program. I've never met you before. And, I've been following what you're doing. It's very exciting. You're out there on the frontier. So thank you for the honor of having me on your show.
Well, Michael, the honor is mine. You know, I follow Talkers Magazine. I get it in my email every day. I read it. It keeps me informed what's going on in the industry, which is extremely, extremely important. But I got to be honest with you, Michael. There's no better time to have you on because I'd like to discuss with you the future of conservative talk radio in an atmosphere of censorship, not just on social media, but possibly in broadcast media, censorship of the airwaves with the possible redeployment of the fairness doctrine in an Biden administration. And I'm not mispronouncing it. It is an Biden administration. And I wanted to get your thoughts on this to shows like ours and the rest of conservative talk radio. Do we have something to fear with this new administration?
I hate to blow your premise, but I don't think so. I don't think there's any chance of the fairness doctrine ever coming back. It was archaic back when it wasn't archaic, you know, back in the analog era, before the internet and before all of that. It was based on the premise that broadcast bandwidth, airspace, AM, FM frequencies were a scarce commodity, and therefore the government had to regulate it so that there was a fairness involved. But it proved to be exactly the opposite of what it had been intended to be. It was intended to create fairness. The word fair sounds very good, of course. But how do you tell people what side of an issue, any side of an issue, is on? Like that's such binary thinking. There's a whole spectrum of issues. Every spot on the spectrum could be split to left and right. It's like fractals. You know, if you look at it philosophically, the philosophically curious, you know, I tend to take that kind of an approach. So I don't think that the Biden administration is even going to think about bringing back the fairness doctrine. They may huff, they may puff, they may say that. But you see, I know a lot of these guys. I have conversations with the left, the right, the Democrats, the Republicans. The fairness doctrine is not coming back. So I wouldn't worry about it, but it's kind of nice to have it hanging in the background as a threat. Because look at what you're doing. You're doing a radio show that's right on the cutting edge of controversy. You're taking a position that is dangerous and edgy. You're dealing with issues that are very, very serious. It's good to have a little bit of an environment of danger, of you know, the government's going to repress you, and you know, you might not be on social media, which means people will tune into your radio and TV stations. I just don't see it as a problem, the fairness doctrine. Now, maybe I'm wrong, maybe I'm naive, but you got to understand, I've been publishing talkers for 31 years, and I've been in the business for 53 years, consecutive years in the radio business. I've seen this come, I've seen it go, I've seen it come back. Therefore, I do not think that we're in danger of the fairness doctrine ever coming back. It would be such a outcry of opposition to it, including from the left. Not everybody on the left wants it. So, because then public radio would have to start putting guys like you on it.
God forbid.
Can you imagine? You know. So, but in terms of the word censorship, now this is kind of interesting. You know, the First Amendment is my main political position. I do not label myself anything. I could not have functioned in this industry the way I do, my job, my role, if I became another partisan talking head. I defend everybody's right to be heard, but I don't necessarily believe that the First Amendment guarantees you the right to be heard. The First Amendment guarantees you the right not to be censored or censured, two different words it sound alike, by the government. They cannot punish, the government cannot say what you're saying is illegal, we're going to put you in jail, we're going to fine you, we're going to do this, we're going to do that. But that doesn't mean that anybody has to put you on their platform. Now, what was the fairness doctrine to begin with? It was the government saying, you, radio, have to put Joe Blow on your platform because you're putting John Black on the platform and Jane Smith on the platform, and you've got to make it fair and balanced out. You've got to do that. Not to do that, you're censoring fair speech. Same people now who complain about the fairness doctrine are saying, whoa, Twitter threw the president off of its platform. Oh, they're giving conservatives a tough time. It's the same issue. You want the fairness doctrine to apply to the social media positions. If you're going to live by the First Amendment, you got to die by the First Amendment. It has certain. So there's the letter of the law per the First Amendment. Then you have another term, freedom of speech. Freedom of speech doesn't necessarily mean the First Amendment. Now, if you come to me and say, hey, Michael, write a story in Talkers about, our program. I go, no, you're too radical for me. I'm not putting you on my platform. We don't want you in our industry. You go, oh, you're Mr. Free Speech and you're not, well, Mr. First Amendment, maybe, but the First Amendment protects me not to have to put you on my platform if I don't want to, because Talkers is my free speech, just like you don't have to put me on your show if you don't want to. So you're getting into dangerous area when you buy into this whole thing about, oh, these social media platforms are censoring us conservatives. First of all, by censoring conservatives, they're only making you sexier, and they're only making your platform more.
Takes
desirable.
a lot to make me look sexier, Michael.
You look pretty good in that hat. If I knew you were wearing a tie, I would have worn my bow tie. I would have really,
the hat, the glasses, the tie are to cover up a couple of things. But, when we talk about censorship, there are some very powerful people out there that say things like talk radio stations are unfair. They only present conservative views. That comes from Nancy Pelosi. Yeah. You have another lady out there. Our view of democracy is to make sure some people see facts and the truth. So that's Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, who actually wants a commission to investigate conservative media. So, Michael, when you have people like that, when you got people like Barack Obama also talking about censorship by saying, I think that government makes sure that everyone is treated fairly. I mean, okay, what is his definition of being treated fairly compared to treating everyone fairly? So when you have powerful people like these talking about censorship, talking about commissions to investigate the media, wow! Again,
welcome to the wild world of the free marketplace of ideas. The First Amendment and democracy and free speech are very messy businesses, and let's face it, American politics is a very rough and tumble blood sport. I learned pretty quickly on. It ain't the way they taught it to me in social studies back in 5th grade. And here's how a bill becomes a law. You write a letter to your congressman, and if he likes it, he'll take it up with the other congressmen, and they'll vote it, and you created a law. That's how we, I guess it doesn't work that way. We grow up and we learn. No, it's a tough business. And the fact, again, I'm coming from an angle that I don't think you expected, but I hope you'll forgive me.
Your angle is your angle. That's why we invited you on. Michael, you know more about this business than I do. I'm a neophyte compared to you, sir.
Well, everybody knows I've been around so long, but that's neither here nor there. But the point is, though, that it's good that there's resistance to you. It's good that powerful people are worried about talk radio. It's good. Otherwise, I'd be back where we were 31 years ago when we started Talkers Magazine, and our major battle cry was, hey, talk show hosts are in this business too. They're as important as disc jockeys. We were fighting for importance to be recognized as important as DJs when we started. Then, hey, we have influence over the community. Hey, we affect public policy. Hey, our listeners are among the most active and aware and affluent and educated people, and they vote. We are where the voters are. We are influential. And then people like the president or candidates or governors would call stations. They get interviews of, hey, look, we're being recognized. Now, not only is it being recognized, it's being feared. It's being dealt with as a dangerous weapon. This is what we strove for. This is what you want. Would you rather that you're not taken seriously? And the guy, who cares about that guy, what he says? The fact that big people are concerned and talking about fairness doctrine, censoring, getting you off Facebook, all of these things is what makes it worth doing. The battle is the journey is the battle. It's all about persuasion and freedom. And I'm just saying to you, I can't prove it to you, but I'm just saying to you, they'll never be able to get rid of the First Amendment. They'll never be able to get rid of the idea of fairness. And Americans have a repulsion for censorship. When you use censorship, you'd better be prepared to defend it, because for every one person that goes, yeah, censor them, you'll have 10 people that will say, no, that's not fair. Americans are fair naturally. and you just let it play out. So I mean, I could leave now if you want.
No, no. Actually, we were going to ask you if you could save for another segment for us. We got to go. We've got to take a little break here to do a little capitalism. But I know my co-host, Ann Elizabeth, wants to get into this conversation. Michael Harrison, could you hold on for just a few moments for us, please?
I'm having a wonderful time.
And you are listening to and watching the Conservative Commandos radio show with Ann Elizabeth and yours truly, Rick Trader. Michael Harrison is our guest this segment. He is the editor and publisher of Talkers Magazine. As I and everyone in the industry call it the Bible of talk radio. We're talking about censorship. We're talking about free speech. We're talking about the First Amendment rights. Don't go away. We'll be right back right after this break.
Everybody wants cheap airfare, but where do you find it? You call low-cost airlines. Their prices are direct from the airlines, and they're so low you can't find these fares published anywhere. They specialize in cheap flights, discount hotel rooms, cheap car rental rates, and great package deals anywhere around the world. Wherever you want to go, they can help you get there cheaply and with a best price guarantee. If you want the lowest prices on your airline tickets or other travel services, call now. That's right, call. That's the only way to get these rates. Experts are standing by 24/7 to get you the cheapest airfare and hotel rates available. So don't wait. Call right now for the lowest travel prices anywhere and for great last-minute travel deals too.
Call 888-431-0562. That's 888-431-0562. 888-431-0562. 888-431-0562.
Dish TV is better than cable TV. Here's why. Dish has the nation's lowest TV price, along with an award-winning DVR that can skip commercials, record 8 shows at once, and get access to thousands of movies at your fingertips. Cable simply can't even compare. So the smart choice is to cut the cable and get Dish. Plus, you get all these great TV features, free HD DVR upgrade, free installation, and free movie channels. Say goodbye to cable and get more with Dish TV. 877-290-7764, 877-290-7764. As an added bonus, you can switch to Dish now and receive a $50 Visa gift card. So call now and get Dish TV. Call 877-290-7764, 877-290-7764. That's 877-290-7764. Limited time offer, 24-month commitment and credit qualification required. Cancellation fee, monthly equipment fees, and other restrictions apply. Promotion can change at any time.
Friend, do you remember when it felt good to withdraw your cash from the bank to expand a business, go on vacation, or buy a new car? Well, today, withdrawing your own cash has become a very risky business, according to The Secret War, a shocking new research report. I just read it. And folks, I was amazed to learn why banks are now required to spy on us for the government and then report any suspicious or unusual behavior. I suggest you get The Secret War free. Just call the number on the screen, no charge, from the folks at Swiss America, and get this. Did you know simply spending cash today may be enough to have you branded as a potential criminal? That's right. The new war on cash is really a war against all freedom-loving Americans. The Secret War is yours free, so call the number on the screen and you can tell them Pat Boone gave you the number.
And once again, welcome back to the Conservative Commandos radio show with Ann Elizabeth and yours truly, Rick Trader. And I love to give shout outs, and let me give this shout out to people who are listening to us on radio stations in Jacksonville, Tampa, and the Villages, Florida, Las Vegas, Reno, and Sparks in Nevada, Macon, Georgia, Lancaster and Pittsburgh, Boulder and Colorado Springs, Milwaukee, Wisconsin, Long Beach, California, Arlington, Virginia, Washington, D.C., and seen on our very own AUN television network in San Francisco, Sacramento, San Jose, Silicon Valley, Wine Country, Redding, and our newest station, our newest affiliate, KGNG Channel 26 in Las Vegas, Nevada. We want to welcome you here. Our guest this segment is Michael Harrison. He's the editor and publisher of Talkers, which is known as the Bible of Talk Radio. And we're talking about free speech, First Amendment rights, censorship in the media. And Michael, thank you for holding through that break. And I wanted to give Ann Elizabeth a chance to talk here. I know she's got a lot of questions for you. Ann Elizabeth, pick up the conversation.
Hi, Michael. How are you?
I'm good, Ann Elizabeth. Thank you.
I'm going to apologize like I did last time because I have my little one home today. So hopefully you don't hear too much noise in the background.
We're living in a whole new era where
We are.
television has become extremely informal. And I think that it's going to stay this way. In other words, I think that the television news studios are going to become more like living rooms than they are these Las Vegas lights flashing and all kinds of stuff going on. They're going to look like Frasier's Seattle apartment, if you remember that show. So I think it's great that your little one is home and that you're taking care of business and that you got such a cool set for the show.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. Nobody knows censorship like me. I am a very loud voice on social media. I have a social media manager. I post at least once an hour, if not more. I am very active. I have a following. And the censorship that I am seeing, I woke up to this morning, I am now banned on Facebook from live videos for something that they had censored me previously. And then I fought it and won. And I guess somebody who works there wasn't aware that somebody had already taken this down and put it back up. But I'm now, for the second time, on the same video that they approved and being censored again. And so here is, and it was nothing. It was literally the Capitol Police removing barricades and putting them to the side so people could come in. I don't know if they don't want people to see it or if they said that it was a mob of people. So they're bending the rules. So at what point, so what is fair? I know you said that, it's not fair for government to censor, but where is the line drawn when you see social media doing the work of the government? Where's the line drawn?
Yeah. They're not doing the work of the government. Social media platforms became bigger than we ever expected they would. And now we have a monster on our hands. And we, meaning non-platforms of social media. I see the world through the lens of radio and to a certain degree now the internet and shows like this, which are hybrids of radio and television, video, etc. I do not have any desire to ever run a Facebook or a Twitter service. That's not what I like to do. So I sort of see them as the other within our world of talk media. They've become extraordinarily powerful. And we in talk radio and talk media have contributed to their success. We give them free programming. We build businesses based upon the assumption that that platform will be friendly to us. We build programs and businesses there based on the assumption that they're not going to start charging us and taking a piece of the money that we do. In other words, we are guests. We're not even customers. The customers are the advertisers that they're selling advertising to that takes business away from us. So we are to blame for giving them all this power. And Donald Trump gave Twitter enormous power, enormous prestige. He didn't have to do that. He's the president of the United States. He could start his own Twitter. And so can you. So the point I'm making is now we have to look at social media as not such a friendly partner, because it's not an equal partnership, but rather as a hostile competitor who has us by the you-know-whats. And so,
let me talk to you about that. Okay,
yeah.
Go ahead.
No, that's my answer. I'll just go on forever. So go ahead. I'm sorry.
Well, it's not. I lost my train of thought on that. But okay. So to move on to the next point, they are doing the work of the government, in my opinion, because they're only doing the work on one side. If they were bipartisan, it would be one thing. But I have Antifa with my picture on it and my profile name as being active in peaceful rallies, and they refuse to take it down, and they're condoning violence.
You're missing the point. They have the right to be wrong. They have the right to be wrong, and they believe you are wrong. When you say they're doing the work of the government, you're saying the government's on the side of Antifa and against conservatives. That's not true. There's a tremendous amount. There's a tremendous. Well, I mean, okay, we can argue if you want. I do have to warn you, I'm a very, very fierce and effective arguer, which is one of the reasons I don't engage in debates, because there's one thing I hate more than losing, and that's winning. Because if I win, what did I gain? I proved I'm smarter than you. I respect you. You're talking to somebody who loves the diversity of all, and I'm not afraid of it. So I'm coming from a slightly different place than you. I certainly empathize with how you feel. But what I'm saying is you're giving them power by making it such an issue. How dare they be running me? They don't have the obligation to run you. And if they found you to be safe and they found you to be something that they don't have to look at as like, is she good for us or not? Well, then they're invalidating you. You may as well do a cooking show. Look at the kind of broadcasting that you're involved in. You're on the cutting edge of the stuff of our times. You're making history. And you might wind up in the course of your life, you're a young woman, you might build a platform that's the next Facebook. It could happen. And you know what will happen when you do that? You'll be just as biased as they are.
Michael, if I could interject, you said something I want to ask you about. You say they have the right to be wrong. Right. And I agree with you. But it doesn't seem like it's tit for tat. They don't want to give us the right to be right or wrong. What I see coming from the left is they just want us to shut up and go away. And by and large, you're being very effective on that. I've had, in the past week or two, I can't tell you how many friends of mine who are conservative, and I won't even mention names. I mean, people that if I mentioned them to you, you would recognize, have said to me, Rick, I'm going to sit this one out for a while. Before I say, I want to see how things shake out, because I'm afraid of being a target.
Well, if you want to play in this game on the big level where we're talking about running the country, politics, presidential elections, the Supreme Court, jails, prisons, laws, yeah, you're going to be a target. The First Amendment does not guarantee you that you're not going to get negative blowback. It's dangerous being famous. It's dangerous being out there. These times are just as dangerous as any times we've ever been through our violent history, not just as Americans, our violent history as human beings. So again, I sympathize with what you're saying, but what I'm saying is my advice to you is don't believe it, because the conservative movement in America, the modern conservative movement in America, that goes back to the days of Barry Goldwater. It goes back much further, of course, but in terms of where we are, then Reagan, and there's a whole evolution here. And then it spawned talk radio, and talk radio focused and targeted people who were card-carrying conservatives who felt that the rest of the media in America marginalized them, Hollywood, the alphabet stations, networks, newspapers, magazines, the culture of America. Suddenly, talk radio began to galvanize these people. It started to talk to them and whatever. And we're talking conservative talk radio now. We're not talking public radio, which is moderate to liberal. We're not talking about sports talk radio, shock jocks, African-American community. I mean, there's all kinds of talk radio. So it's not all conservative, Nancy Pelosi, and I wish she wouldn't say that. But I have seen over the decades the conservative media movement go from being marginalized, where they made fun of the John Birch Society and they called them the radical right. And even Ronald Reagan was presented when he was first starting to come on the scene politically as a radical right winger. All of a sudden now we have hundreds of websites. We have major cable news talk channels getting top ratings. Fox News Channel is the biggest thing on cable. We have hundreds of conservative radio stations around the country. Rush Limbaugh has been a major player for over 3 decades, #1 on radio. It's not like they are succeeding in shutting down this voice. The voice gets louder and louder. The voice elected the Bushes. The voice elected Donald Trump. Donald Trump still is a powerhouse in this country with millions of devoted followers. I don't see it being in the real world that somehow Alexandria, AOC is going to, oh my gosh, she's going to, investigate us.
Michael, in the minute that we have left, you brought up the name of Donald Trump. And I have theorized that I think his future moving on from Washington will be to create a media network himself. Think I have some?
I don't think he has the attention span, the concern. At this point in his life, does he need that headache? Do you?
Did he need the headache of being president? No, but he
Yes,
took it on.
No, I think he did. I think he loved it. I think he's still loving it. I don't think Donald Trump is wired like anybody I've ever known or seen. So it's
well, you know him. You've met him. You sat down to dinner with him. So
So I'm sorry we're running out of time. Maybe you'll have me back because
I certainly will. I'd love to have you back.
And Elizabeth, if your train of thought comes back to you,
I want to ask you a question.
Sure, go ahead.
I hope we have time. Regarding
we will make time because I make the rules. I can bend the rules. We'll make the time.
What I was going to ask before I left the train of thought was talking about, they're not only censoring people, but now we see entire companies that are, are valued at nearly $1 billion, like Parler, being shut down. How do we know that we're not seeing this as knocking out the competition? Maybe Twitter didn't like what they were doing, got with Amazon, and they took it down. This has a lot more repercussions than just plain censorship. I mean, they might be just taking out their best competition because all the conservatives leave Twitter. Then what's going to happen?
Rather than to pervert or bastardize the First Amendment, become a harsh critic of social media and stop giving them so much free attention, stop giving them free advertising, stop giving them free promotion, stop giving them free product, content, programming, and realize that you're dealing with a major force that is not your friend.
It's not your friend. And people like me who count on it for developing income, and other people like Graham, Allen, who has an entire staff that he pays, that one day just gets shut down, or Susan O'Connor, who built my page that I moderated that, helped me rise up, is, 60,000 people. All she did was talk about California elections and laws shut down overnight. This affects people's lives. I mean,
and Elizabeth, if I could jump in, Michael, because I'm going to say something, I'm going to get your opinion. So, in my opinion, then you have to shift gears.
Yeah.
And by what I mean by shifting gears is, well, by being on this show, by being a host on the Conservative Commandos radio show, our stations, our TV stations, the television network we're building, in my opinion, and Michael, tell me what's your thought, that's shifting gears.
Totally.
That's saying this wall is here. It's blocked. I could continue to bang my head on this wall to get through, but is there another way to get around that wall? And I see what you're doing with us and Elizabeth, TV, radio, part of this show, as doing exactly that. Michael, you think I'm on the right track? Or?
I think you're totally on the right track. But I want to say something else. Ann Elizabeth, you're a conservative. Since when do conservatives go, oh, they're not being fair to me?
I don't.
You're looking for a handout from your competitor? You're angry. They're your competitor. They're not bigger than you or better than you. They just right now maybe are making more money and have more reach. Stop building your programs on their platform. I gave you the answer earlier. I do not like victimhood. I am an arch conservative when it comes to that. Victimhood? Oh, I'm going to complain. I'd love to be how come the New York Times doesn't do a story on Talkers Magazine and put it on the front page? We should be there. They're censoring me. Oh, just run your own race. You look like a total winner to me. This whole program is dynamic.
I don't feel like a victim, but I am. There's days of discouragement like today where I'm not allowed to do any more live videos. So I can't in one day transform my whole audience. So I don't want to cry a victim.
No, I get it.
Frustrating.
I get it, but something you're learning. You're still learning. You got a big future ahead of you. This is great experience for you. Working with Rick, doing this, talking to me. I hope somehow maybe I'm making some kind of an impression on you. I'm on your side. I just approach it. I guess I'm more radical than you are in terms of my view of this game.
Michael, you know what helps? You know what helps an old guy like me?
An older guy like me.
Because I've been knocked down. Because I've had defeats. Because I looked at those defeats and said, well, what can I learn from that? And then you use those defeats and you gain knowledge and strength. For instance, a defeat is nothing more than resistance. A defeat is like lifting weights to build strength. So you have to use those defeats to build your strength, to build your knowledge, to build your experience. And then you look and you say, Let's move on. Let's go. Hey, Michael, I'm sorry to do this, but we're up against a heartbreak here. And Michael Harrison, I want to thank you.
I appreciate it.
Well, I appreciate.
Keep at it, okay? I really want you to see.
I could keep talking to you.
Let's stay in touch, all of us. You know.
Yeah.
We will. Michael Harrison, Talkers Magazine. Please tell our audience how they could follow you, how they can start following Talkers Magazine if they're not already,
It's free.
and how they could
Talkers.com.
check out your podcast.
Go to talkers.com. It's all there. Talkers is free and it's open to everybody. And it's an inside look at the industry of talk media, and we deal with all of this kind of stuff and then some. Thank you so much. This is I know I got a little carried away here, but I've had a great time talking to you.
Well, thank you. And as you said to me yesterday, Michael, we've crossed paths in the past and never had an opportunity to do this. This has been great, and I sincerely hope we can have you on again.
Oh, anytime. I would look forward to it and picking up where we left off. And,
thank you so much.
And thank you both. My best to both of you and to all of your viewers and listeners.
Thank you so much. Take care and God bless. And you are listening to and watching the Conservative Commandos radio show with Ann Elizabeth and yours truly, Rick Trader. On the other side, we're going to be joined by attorney Corey Liu. He's a partner at the Ashcroft Law Firm, and we're going to be talking about Trump impeachment trials face sticky legal questions. Don't go away. We will be right back.
Are you paying too much for your health insurance? Are your deductibles too high? Or are you completely uninsured? If you answered yes to any of these questions, Healthcare Help Desk can help you now when people need help the most. Health insurance laws and rules have changed. If you have Obamacare, are uninsured, or your premiums are too high, call Healthcare Help Desk. It's free. New healthcare plans are available, and you may qualify for dental coverage and lower copays and deductibles. Make the free call now. Top quality coverage at the lowest prices anywhere. You may be paying too much and not even know it. In these troubled times, healthcare is more important than ever. Don't let another day go by without health insurance. Policies are being offered with very low copays and deductibles. So if you're uninsured, underinsured, or paying too much, call Healthcare Help Desk. Learn about your options before it's too late.
Call 800-964-1055. 800-964-1055.
Attention Medicare recipients and anyone turning 65. Medicare has approved new benefits not included with original Medicare and older Medicare Advantage plans. You may not be getting all of the benefits you're entitled to. These new Medicare Advantage plans may have many free new benefits including in-home aids, telephone appointments with your doctors, home-delivered meals and prescriptions. These benefits may be available and it's a free call to enroll. The easiest way to enroll is to call the Medicare Benefits Line, a free non-government service. The new plans may also offer free eyeglasses, free hearing aids, free wellness visits, and gym memberships. Call the Medicare Benefits Line now. It's easy. Find out if you're eligible for new benefits like meal and prescription delivery, in-home aids, and telemedicine. Some plans may have a $0 monthly premium or zero copays for big out-of-pocket savings.
Call 800-691-1655. 800-691-1655.
Medicare Benefits Line is not connected with or endorsed by any government agency or the federal Medicare program.
I owed the IRS $10,000.
The IRS garnished my wages.
They put a lien on my house.
I'm self-employed and didn't report all my income. They claim I owe a lot more than I do.
The IRS is the most powerful collection agency in the world. They do not give up until you pay.
I couldn't sleep. We were being audited. I called Tax Solutions Now, and a great big weight was lifted off my shoulders.
I called Tax Solutions Now, and they got the IRS off my back.
Tax Solutions Now had my wage garnishment lifted in 48 hours.
Tax Solutions Now can get you help. Our agents know the rules, can stop the pain, and get you the best deal.
Tax Solutions Now saved my business.
I qualified for the Fresh Start program. I paid less than I owed.
We connect you with a team of former IRS agents and tax professionals who get the IRS off your back. Time is running out. Call Tax Solutions Now.
Call 800-447-7570. 800-447-7570.
And once again, we want to welcome you back. This is the Conservative Commandos radio show with Ann Elizabeth and yours truly, Rick Trader. And for a rebroadcast of our show, please check out our website, ccrshow.com, ccrshow.com. Some of our viewers and listeners say, Rick, I can't find rebroadcasts recently. Well, that's because of Vimeo and YouTube deleting a lot of our programs, saying, well, you violate our standards. And I don't know why. We're broadcast on television and radio. We adhere to the standards of the FCC. However, I don't know about YouTube and Twitter, but please stay with us because we're going to rectify that system real soon. And you'll still be able to pick up our TV and radio shows and rebroadcast. But I want to introduce our next guest, and that's Corey Liu. He's a partner at the Ashcroft Law Firm. He previously served as Assistant General Counsel to Texas Governor Greg Abbott. He clerked for Judge Andrew Oldman in the Fifth Circuit and Judge Danny Boggs in the Sixth Circuit. He's a graduate of the University of Chicago and Harvard Law School, where he served as the editor-in-chief of the Harvard Journal of Law and Public Policy. And Corey, we want to welcome you here to the Conservative Commandos radio show. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me on.
Well, thank you for joining us because we have an extremely important topic to discuss. The Trump impeachment trial faces sticky legal questions. First of all, Corey, I got to say, I think this is a nothing burger. I think this is so ridiculous what is being perpetrated by the Democrat Congress impeaching Donald Trump, and he's out of office. How can you impeach a president that's not even in office?
Well, that's going to be one of the big legal questions that's raised in the trial. And I think you've heard probably most prominently Senator Lindsey Graham raising this argument. Senator Tom Cotton has made it as well, which is if you read the text of the Constitution, it talks about impeachment being for removing the president from office. That's what you get when you impeach someone and you convict them. And
Right.
so President Trump is no longer in office now. So the argument is it's unconstitutional. We're holding a trial over someone who's not even the president anymore. Now, there is an argument on the other side, and some law professors have made it, and the Democrats are going to make it. And that argument is basically, if you look at Article 1 of the Constitution, which talks about Congress's role in impeachment, it also gives them the ability to disqualify someone from office. So their argument is we can still hold the trial and convict him just for to disqualify him from ever holding office again. So there's not a lot of precedent for something like this. And so you've seen people make arguments on both sides, and that's the question the Senate's going to have to resolve.
Corey, if the Senate resolves it one way or another, is there any tool to actually take this to the Supreme Court?
And that is a possibility. And I think there you're also going to have competing arguments on both sides. There is a Supreme Court precedent called Nixon versus United States. That's not President Nixon. It's a federal district judge named Nixon from Mississippi. And in that case, Nixon said, the Senate convicted me, but I didn't get a full trial the way I would in court. They just voted and they convicted me. And so that I didn't get the trial as it's described in the Constitution. And what the Supreme Court said was, under the text of the Constitution, the Senate has the sole power to try impeachments. And so it's not a decision for the Supreme Court. That's the Senate gets to decide what a proper trial looks like. And so the Supreme Court basically dodged the question and stayed out of it. So that is a precedent on hand. And I think one could argue that the Supreme Court doesn't have a role. It's solely the responsibility of the Senate. On the other hand, the Supreme Court is always free to reconsider its precedents or to add nuances. And Judge Michael Ludig, who used to be a federal court of appeals judge on the Fourth Circuit, he's retired now. He wrote an op-ed saying he thinks the Supreme Court could review it, and that if they do convict him, that they should review it because he thinks it's unconstitutional. So it's possible that it could end up there.
Well, where does it go from here, Corey? I mean, it's in the hands of the House now. It's up to Nancy Pelosi, correct me if I'm wrong, to deliver these articles of impeachment to the Senate. I don't know who controls the Senate now. I really don't, to be honest with you. So can you walk us through the steps to actually bring this impeachment to trial in the Senate? And also, are there ways for people like Mitch McConnell to block this from ever being ever blocking a trial in the Senate?
Well, so the House is going to have to deliver the articles of impeachment to the Senate. And actually, we found out it was just recently announced that they plan to do that on Monday. So if they do that, then it will be in the Senate's hands. And they do have a responsibility to consider those articles of impeachment. But that will
Well,
have
what
to
does that mean when you say consider those articles of impeachment? What exactly does that mean?
Well, they do have a responsibility to try to have a trial, but I think there's going to be arguments raised. We've already heard them that the Senate doesn't even have jurisdiction, that it's not proper because it's unconstitutional because the president's out of office. So I think you are going to see perhaps a motion to dismiss, or before we have sort of a full-blown trial, just an argument to throw out the impeachment and end it there. And so that there is some precedent for that. There was once actually a sitting senator who was himself impeached, and he was expelled from the Senate through the Senate's own procedures. So the impeachment ended up not happening, and he refused to recognize the legitimacy of the impeachments because he said, I'm already out of office. And so they ended up not having a trial in that case. So I think that will be one argument that'll have to be presented and considered. And then, even if they go to trial, I'm sure the senators will continue to say the proceeding is illegitimate, and they may still make that argument. And then, of course, at that stage, when you're voting to convict, you need a 2/3 supermajority to ultimately convict.
Corey, when you have a trial, the prosecution is supposed to have evidence. Again, please correct me. But from what I am understanding, the Democrats are trying to impeach President Trump, or actually former President Trump now, is inciting a riot, to incite an insurrection, to inciting a civil war. I mean, whoa. And what evidence do they have? What evidence do you think that they're going to try to present?
Well, I think it's very hard for them because they move so quickly. In a typical criminal case, right, you have a thorough investigation, and then once you've collected all the evidence, then you bring the charges against the person. Here, the incident happened on January 6th, and just days later, they impeached him. They didn't have witnesses. They didn't have the committee hearings that you saw with the previous impeachment. And so I think there are going to be questions of what even happened on January 6th. The FBI right now is doing a lot of investigations. They're trying to figure out, was this pre-planned? Were there, other groups? There's been allegations of either Antifa or foreign influences. Those need to be investigated. There's hundreds of tips that they've received. Some of them may be accurate. Some of them may not be, but that just takes time to investigate. So we don't know what the evidence is, but it seems with the news that Pelosi wants to deliver the articles of impeachment on Monday, that they want to move this along quickly. So she has said that the argument is going to be based on his speech that he gave on January.
That's public record. That's videotape. That's in history. I don't know. I'm just saying, Corey. And I've heard it. I've seen it. I've read the transcripts. I don't see any incitement to riot, any incitement to overthrow the government. I just think this is all a nothing burger. And between you and me, my friend, I think it's going to bite the Democrats in the butt in the other end. I mean, with everything that is going on in this country, with all the needs of this country, they're spending their time on this. I mean, it's crazy.
Yeah, and I think it raises serious questions about free speech. I mean, it was a political rally. And here, if you pull up the articles of impeachment, the actual two quotes that they have are, number one, we won this election and we won it by a landslide. Well, okay, that doesn't contain anything about violence. And then they say, if you don't fight like hell, you're not going to have a country anymore. Well, I'm sure you can pull snippets from Joe Biden.
when you hear the things that Barack Obama has said in the past. For instance, if you're going to go to a knife fight, take a gun. When you have Maxine Waters say, if you see a Republican at a restaurant, get in their face. I mean, how? They weren't brought up in charges. But Corey, I'm getting a little excited here, but we got to take a break. I hope you can stay with us because I know my co-host Ann has some questions for you. And you are listening to and watching the Conservative Commandos radio show with Ann Elizabeth and yours truly, Rick Trader, coming to you from the studios of the Conservative Commandos radio network. Corey Liu is joining us. He's an attorney. He's a partner at the Ashcroft Law Firm, and we're discussing Trump impeachment trial faces sticky legal questions. Please don't go away. We'll be right back.
Here's a great way to save money on your prescription medications. If you take Viagra or Cialis, we can give you a way to pay as little as $2 a pill. Compare that to prices as high as $60 per tablet. Call now with your prescription and pay as little as $2 a pill. We offer 24/7 service and always free delivery and confidential packaging. Call Pharmacy Shop 24/7 to get generic versions of Viagra or Cialis for as little as $2 a pill, plus free discreet shipping.
Broken AC, $4,600. Water heater, $1,500. Fridge on the fritz, $1,000.
You need home warranty coverage from the Home Service Club
For around $1 a day. If any of your covered appliances and systems break down, HSC will either repair or replace them.
HSC provides coverage of up to 47 different appliances and systems in your home.
I trust HSC.
HSC has over 15,000 pre-screened, highly rated technicians with the fastest response time in the industry.
They cover everything from ACs, stoves, fridges, pool pumps, and more.
Call the number on your screen now for a free no-obligation quote from a trusted HSC specialist about a home warranty for your entire home, backed with a 30-day money-back guarantee. Call now and get 1 month free plus $75 off your first year of coverage. 1 month free and $75 off your first year. The Home Service Club.
I didn't know some Medicare Advantage plans may pay for dental visits. Did you?
I didn't know some Medicare Advantage plans may pay for transportation to my doctor. Did you?
I didn't know some Medicare Advantage plans may pay to have my prescriptions delivered directly to my home. Did you?
These and more are important benefits some Medicare Advantage plans may give you. So if you're eligible for Medicare, call us right now because you may be eligible to enroll in a plan with amazing additional benefits. Some Medicare Advantage plans may pay for services like these: dental visits, vision coverage, hearing coverage, home delivery of drugs, even gym memberships. Some plans may include no copays for many services and 0 deductibles. Don't wait to find out if you're eligible to enroll in a plan that may include some of these wonderful benefits you deserve. Call us right now. The call is free, the information is free, and there's no obligation. Make this free call now to learn if you're eligible to enroll in a Medicare Advantage plan that may include additional benefits you want. Call us right now.
Here's a great way to save money on your prescription medications. If you take Viagra or Cialis, we can give you a way to pay as little as $2 a pill. Compare that to prices as high as $60 per tablet. Call now with your prescription and pay as little as $2 a pill. We offer 24/7 service and always free delivery and confidential packaging. Call Pharmacy Shop 24/7 to get generic versions of Viagra or Cialis for as little as $2 a pill, plus free discreet shipping.
And once again, we want to welcome you back to the Conservative Commandos radio show with Ann Elizabeth and yours truly, Rick Trader. And one more time, I want to give a shout out to our listeners on radio stations in Jacksonville, Tampa, and the Villages, Florida, Las Vegas, Reno, and Sparks in Nevada, Macon, Georgia, Lancaster and Pittsburgh, Boulder and Colorado Springs, Milwaukee, Wisconsin, Long Beach, California, Arlington, Virginia, as well as Washington, D.C. And I also want to welcome our newest audience, our audience on KGNG channel 26 in Las Vegas, our newest television affiliate. I want to welcome you here, as well as I want to welcome back our guest, Corey Liu. He's a partner at the Ashcroft Law Firm, and we're discussing the Trump impeachment trial faces sticky legal questions. And Corey, thank you for holding through that break. And I know my co-host Ann wants to pick up this conversation.
I do. Hi, how are you?
Hi, I'm good.
Good. Well, I was at the ellipse that day when he gave the speech, and there was nothing that incited violence. So the two things that they said, how can they get away with saying that that was somehow inciting violence?
I think they're going to have a hard time proving that. Like I said, the statements that they quoted in the articles of impeachment were, we won this election and we won it by a landslide. And if we don't fight like hell, you're not going to have a country anymore. And so, that type of rhetoric, Joe Biden says we're in a battle for the soul of our country, right? If you were to say that this was unlawful speech, how many other things that all the members of the House and the Senate have said would be unlawful? So the Supreme Court in the First Amendment free speech doctrine has set out a test for what they consider to be incitement that's outside of the First Amendment, and that's in the Brandenburg case. And so they talk about basically you have to intentionally be inciting imminent lawless action. And so it's a very high standard, and they've held a lot of things that are very controversial are still protected by the First Amendment. Now, in this case, certainly those two quotes, I'm not seeing anything talking about real violence. I mean, fighting, that's basically an election is a fight. And he did say to go to the Capitol at one point. And I believe he also said peacefully and patriotically. And so that's certainly not the kind of clear incitement that I would think the Supreme Court would say is not protected by the First Amendment. And again, you're going to have the questions about, how many people went there with the intention to cause problems. And so it wasn't because they heard some kind of speech and suddenly they got swept up in the passions. It was they went there to cause trouble. And you're not going to hold a person who's making a legitimate First Amendment protected speech responsible for someone else's criminal activities, right? That person can be prosecuted through the normal criminal process, but that may not necessarily be related to the speech.
Yeah. Okay, so this happened very fast. I personally believe that it was a planned event, premeditated, mixed with a crime of passion from people that they could rope in to bring in with them. I do think it was a planned event. I actually know that they had Antifa members. We had been warned that Antifa was going to be there, and they were actually, they got out of the car, police escorted. And I watched just a very unusual, crowd, at this event. Like, I didn't personally witness the storming or anything like that because I was nowhere near there, but just online. And police waving it in. So I do believe that there, hopefully it will be an investigation into that, because for weeks we were warned that Antifa was going to cause, some trouble. And I do believe that the crime of passion that would be involved with the Trump supporters who saw it just were in the moment. But why I say that to preface this is, what is behind this? Do you see this as being shoved through so quickly for a reason? Like, what is behind shoving it through so fast? What is the threat?
I think, honestly, they were probably just emotional. I mean, you saw the pictures of Nancy Pelosi's office, so I could see the desire to just snap back quickly. But I don't think when you're initiating a legal proceeding that it's wise to go so quickly, right? I mean, there's a reason why usually if the FBI gets a tip on something, they'll spend months, investigating and trying to figure out what happened. I do think with the inauguration coming up so shortly after, they were trying to send a message by kind of scaring people by, calling up all these people and issuing these indictments so quickly, which is normally they would take their time to make sure they had all the facts straight before acting so quickly.
Yeah. So do you think the Senate would likely, what do you think the outcome is going to be of this? I mean, do you think this is going to go, into trial if the Senate's going to approve? What do you think is going to happen in the long run? Do you think this is going to be a waste of taxpayer money? We should be focusing on other things like coronavirus or, other stuff?
Yeah, well, I think it will certainly take up the Senate's time and the attention away from the president's agenda, right? I mean, the first 100 days is when the president kind of has the most momentum in terms of claiming the mandate from the election. And if they're going to be spending that much time putting Trump back at the center of attention, especially if he has some strong counter arguments, I think it would be certainly would take up a lot of time and attention away. Even if I was a Democrat, I'd be worried about that.
Maybe that's a good thing. I mean, when you look at Biden's agenda, and I'm not misspeaking, Corey, that's what I'm calling him, Biden. When you look at his agenda, maybe this is a good thing to keep the House, to keep the Senate locked up and not acting on what Biden wants to do. I'm sorry, Ann, I just had to say that.
I think it's going to be a tough decision for the Democrats, and so ultimately. So like I said, I think there will be some kind of motion to dismiss on the jurisdictional basis. And if that fails, they may go to a full-blown trial. For a trial, they're going to need 2/3 to convict. So you're going to need 17 Republican senators to join if every single Democrat votes to convict. And so I think it's probably unlikely that there'll be a conviction, but it will depend on how the trial goes. But I think there'll be questions ultimately about what's best for the country in terms of coming together. We've heard the rhetoric of trying to move on and work together to solving problems. And so what message would it send if the Senate convicted him and basically to try to stop him from running for president again, as opposed to rather trying to have the people have their voice heard in terms of whether he gets elected or not.
Let me ask you a question about. I didn't know if you were going to ask one more question, Rick.
No, sorry, Ann.
That's okay.
I've been jumping in a lot today, but this is your segment.
Let me ask you a question about this, because this kind of goes off of this. But there are a lot of people right now getting arrested with the FBI, and there are people that I know personally that were not in the Capitol, but near the Capitol, near the stairs, and near some of those areas, but not up top. Still on the ground by the grass. There's many levels that you have to climb up from staring at the Capitol to get, inside the Capitol. But, where do they stop? Because I have friends that are actually, very concerned about the fact that they were just being there. I feel like this is a big fear campaign for people that were there. Do people that were just standing there peacefully protesting need to worry? When does this end?
Well, I hope the FBI is careful about, because even if just calling someone up to ask questions, that is a scary thing, like you said. And so, I'm not exactly sure. I haven't looked carefully at the laws to figure out what is the boundary of where you can and can't be. But certainly if you or anyone gets a call, it would be wise to talk to an attorney first before agreeing to any conversation with them. But I think there are some serious questions. For example, a lot of people have said nobody was stopping them, or the police seemed to be letting them in. And so a person could, maybe reasonably or innocently have just walked through and didn't know that they were breaking the law. And I think that's at least a factor that needs to be considered and could be raised in arguments. So, maybe about the inauguration's over, that some of this will cool down. And so in terms of whether people need to be afraid or not, I would say, if you haven't been contacted by the FBI, then I wouldn't, live your life in fear. But certainly if something like that happened, you'd want to speak to an attorney.
Yeah. Well, I just, we were called to peacefully protest, and I think that's what most of the people, the majority of people, there are hundreds of thousands of people there, and I think the majority of people were there to peacefully protest, and it just turned into, something that no one, I don't think, could have ever foreshadowed or expected.
I don't even think President Trump foresaw this happening, another impeachment. I don't think anyone could have foreseen that at this point. Do you, Corey?
I certainly did not. I don't think he did.
All right.
Here we are.
Corey Liu, we want to thank you so much for joining us here on the Conservative Commandos radio show. Corey, please tell our audience how they can keep track of you, what you do, your work, what you write, all the good things.
Well, you can find me on Twitter at CORYLIU. I practice at the Ashcroft Law Firm, so we actually do deal with some federal criminal issues sometimes. I'm also passionate about the affirmative action issue. I've done some writing and legal work on that. In that case, we'll see. Hopefully the Hartford lawsuit goes to the Supreme Court. But it's been a pleasure to talk to you.
All right. And again, thank you so much for joining us. Take care and God bless. And you are listening to and watching the Conservative Commandos radio show with Ann Elizabeth and yours truly, Rick Trader. Avoid disappointment and future regret. Don't go away. Ann and I will be back with more right after this break.
Attention homeowners, do you have a house that's in need of serious repairs? Do you have tenants that never seem to make their monthly payments? How about code violations, past due taxes, or maintenance costs you just can't afford? Then call my friends right now at Quick Cash Offer. They specialize in buying any home, no matter how ugly the situation. Turn that problem property into cash right now. It's just that simple. One call and you can get rid of that home headache forever. They buy the ugliest houses with instant closings, instant cash, and huge savings. Plus, there are no realtor fees, no listing fees, and no repair costs. Just cash in your hands for that painful property. They're buying a few more houses in your neighborhood this month. So take advantage of this cash offer and call Quick Cash Offer now.
855-296-8854. 855-296-8854. That's 855-296-8854.
Listen carefully. If your student loan debt is overwhelming you and things seem hopeless, we've got great news.
If you're still struggling with your student loan debt, there are government programs available that may actually lower your payments by consolidating your federal student loans. Just call us. We'll review your situation and work with you to consolidate your debt. In many cases, depending on your situation, we can lower your monthly payments in half or more. It doesn't matter how much you owe or how far behind you are. Even if you're in default, call us right now to find out how we can lower your payment in half immediately. You can stop the harassing phone calls and the wage garnishments. All you need to do is pick up the phone and call us right now. We can remove your default status, consolidate your federal student loans, lower your payments, and we can do it today. Stop worrying. This is a real solution that can help. So please call us right now.
Call 800-917-8671.
Are you over the age of 50? Want peace of mind and financial security for your family? Here's an important message to you and all seniors from the Final Expense Insurance Hotline. The average funeral costs about $7,000, even more. And the most government benefits will pay your family is only $255. That leaves your loved ones with a burden of paying your debts and funeral costs. Our plans start as low as $1 per day and will pay up to $30,000 for your funeral and other final expenses. There's no medical exam and you'll have lifetime coverage. Plus, your rates will never increase and your plan cannot be canceled regardless of your medical condition, as long as you make your premium payments. Get free information right now. Just answer a few simple questions and get approved right over the phone in just a few minutes. Call right now.
Call 855-221-7334.
Do you have an idea for an invention, but you don't know what to do next?
How do you get in front of companies or get a patent?
Call InventHelp. They've been helping inventors just like you for 35 years.
And thousands of people contact them every month.
With 65 offices, you can meet with an InventHelp representative near you who will keep your idea confidential and explain their invention process step by step. InventHelp has helped over 10,000 inventors get patents. And they offer 3D animations and prototyping services to help demonstrate your idea. InventHelp's exclusive databank includes over 9,000 companies who have agreed to confidentially review new ideas, like yours.
Don't wonder what to do next. Take action right now and get the help you need from InventHelp.
InventHelp. Call today for free information.
800-880-2937. That's 800-880-2937 now.
Well, Ann Elizabeth, I want to thank you for sitting in today as my co-host. I also want to thank our guest for coming on to Conservative Commandos, Representative Jake Hoffman from Arizona. He joined us to talk about the Arizona Legislature induces first in nation resolution to protect against Democrat court packing. Then we had Michael Harrison join us, and he is the editor and publisher of Talkers magazine. We talked about a myriad of issues: First Amendment rights, the freedom of speech, the fairness doctrine, and also we had Corey Liu. He's an attorney, a partner at the Ashcroft law firm, talking about Trump impeachment trial faces sticky legal questions. Again, I want to thank our guests, and Ann Elizabeth, please tell our audience how they can follow what you do when you're not here on Conservative Commandos. I know it's getting tougher for you, but at least you're here, and tell our audience how to keep track of you.
Sorry, my son is moving a chair. My Facebook platform is Ann Elizabeth, and my Twitter is Ann Elizabeth US. You can follow me. Those are probably my two biggest platforms. I would follow me there. Those seem to be the ones that get the most attention social media wise. So.
All right. Well, thank you. And for now, that's about it. We're out of time. We got to run. We got to go. Take care. God bless. We'll see you tomorrow on TV and on radio.